Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to an episode of the J La Rock release. I know many of you are wondering exactly what this is, so I just want to give you kind of a brief precursor so that you know exactly what we're doing here. The J Rock release is a newer platform that we have here on the network, and it is geared directly toward the people who we are representing on J Rock management and publicity. So it's just a new idea that we had. We wanted to have a way to further push the clients that we have and really get them out there to our audience and our fan base, being that we have so many followers and subscribers and that sort of thing. It's just an added piece and a way for them to kind of get some shine outside of all the other platforms that we have, which are usually more geared towards entertainment and that sort of thing. So today, I think I have a treat in store for many of you. Um, we talk a lot about mental health and different things surrounding the autism community and ADHD and that sort of thing. I think that many of us, whether we believe it or not, or whether we know or not, we have some sort of connection to that world. So I myself, my son was diagnosed as a child with ADHD. I know many people who have autistic children, many friends who I've worked with, obviously in the medical field, but then Cat Queen. Everybody knows Cat Queen because she's on many of the podcasts and she's doing a lot of amazing and wonderful things for UG Digital Media and Publishings. So she is an autism mom. So it hits right at home. It hits us directly. So it's something that is usually kind of in the background and we talk about it a little bit more, but now we are bringing that to the forefront with our latest client. She is based in the Alabama area, and she's going to tell you exactly where she is because I always mess it up, even though she's told me a million times. So we are going to bring her in just a moment. But I really just want to give you an idea, really about our guest. Her name is Mamta Jha Mishra. She has an amazing book out. This is not her first book, but she has an amazing book out titled Energy Management Mantras for Caregivers. So if you even just think about the title, Mantras for Caregivers is something that many of us can use. And it's not even just related to the world of autism. Many of us are taking care of parents. We're taking care of children, who may not be autistic, but they have other things going on. But I think even more so just with, the parental piece and taking care of your parents. A lot of our parents are hitting that stage where, they may be developing Alzheimer's. They don't remember much. They can't take care of themselves. And it becomes really stressful and taxing when you have to deal with those types of things. So what she has out here is it's already near and dear to my heart because I've seen the the journey with Alzheimer's with my grandmother. And in all honesty, that entire side of the family deals heavily with Alzheimer's. So everybody who has passed along have passed of Alzheimer's or they've had Alzheimer's. Um, I have a parent who it is possibly exhibiting signs of that. We don't know for sure. I'm not going to. I can't even put 100% stamp on it because we do know of other things as well. But it does hit close to home. So this is something that, not only does it help me, but I know that it can help you. I know it can help people in your family. And we're going to bring Mamta on so that she can definitely explain everything about what it is that she does, what her journey has been, because it has not just started. It is a long journey that has been lifelong, but it's been rewarding and fulfilling to her. So she will be able to explain to you in what ways it's been rewarding and fulfilling, and how that now in turn is going to be rewarding and fulfilling to you. So I want you to join me in welcoming Mamta to the platform. How are you?
I am doing good, James. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to,
Absolutely.
yeah, to talk about caregivers and my book, the new book.
Absolutely.
So, so
I just think
yes.
like I think it was a wonderful way, obviously to strengthen and broaden what it is that we were doing. But what I'm learning, and that when we first connected, I was in such a tailspin, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And can I do this? And where is she? And where am I? And that sort of thing. But I'm learning to better utilize the resources that I already have in place, and I just haven't really done anything with them. So I think this is absolutely amazing. Given our audience and the people who watch our podcast already, but also our social media followings between Kat and I, and then just the organization as a whole, there's over 100,000 people there that can obviously benefit from this. And
Oh, yes.
again, whether it's autism related or whether you're dealing with a parent who is just ill and you have to take care of them, and just how taxing it can be on your life when you have so many other things going on, and you're also trying to make sure that this person has all the resources that they need, that they can't
Right.
really fight for themselves. So I would
Yep.
love for you to introduce yourself,
Okay.
and then
So you
um,
already said my name is Mamta Mishra, and you may not know that meaning of my name means mother's love. And
I,
yes, and I live that name every day of my life. So I have two sons, Ankur and Parag. My younger one has autism.
okay,
And yeah, and I live in Gadsden, Alabama. My husband is a physician, and we have a walk-in clinic over here. He is an internist. And Prague was diagnosed when he was 2 years and 7 months of age. And before that, I had not even heard the word autism.
right,
And when I came to know that there is no cure for autism, James, I wasn't broken. I was shattered, lost, and lonely.
yeah,
And I started asking God, why me, God? Why me? And all of us go through that phase, and that why me phase. And many of us don't get out of that phase. And with God's grace, I was able to get out of that phase because I have always believed in the power of prayer. And I
absolutely,
want to share this with you. And like at that time, I always pray, but at that time, I was praying like all the time and incessantly. So one day while I was praying, this voice spoke to me and it says, Parag has autism. Are you going to mope, cry, and sulk, or are you going to do something about it?
absolutely,
I, I really did not know what I was going to do. But in that moment, I felt enormous courage and I knew I was not going to mope, cry, and sulk.
absolutely,
So, with God's grace, I decided to gather all the information of knowledge, and not just any knowledge, evidence-based knowledge. And that is why I went to Jacksonville State University to get my master's in special education. And this is my second master's. My first one is in English literature from India, New Delhi University. So, and then I have been running his homeschool for 25 some years. Whatever I was learning in the college, I was applying at home.
Right.
So, what I'm trying to tell you is that I did not plan any of this. I did
Absolutely.
not plan to write this book, Energy Management Mantras for Caregivers, or this book, Autism, Our Journey and Finding Happiness. But the day I realized that Prague is a blessing from God
Hmm.
and God never ever makes mistakes,
Absolutely.
that is the day I became his true advocate, his true guardian, and a protector.
I think it's first and foremost, kudos to you because everything that you have done speaks tremendously to your personality. It speaks to your spirit, and it really taps into the fact that you didn't just lie there like you said and sulk, but you picked up the pieces and you figured out how could you move forward. I think my first question is, what gave you the desire to take it even further? And when I say that, I mean that most people who are faced with this type of diagnosis for their children, a lot of them hit that space where it's like, why God, why me, and why is this happening, and why do we deserve this, and that sort of thing. But once they begin to pick up the pieces, they're really just fighting for the resources for their child, and they're not necessarily looking outside of that. But you took it even further, and you're not only helping Parag, but you're also helping the world, because there's so many people who can take from what it is that you have. Like, even in my experience as a parent of a child with ADHD, it was like I hit the same place, when it was like, why? And there's nothing wrong. And, kind of the denial space at first.
Yes.
And then
Hmm.
once you realize that there is an issue, it's like, why? And why do we deserve this? And that sort of thing. And then from there, as we picked up the pieces, we began to really push and fight to make sure that he had the resources. But I think that was so taxing to us that there really was no room or any space to do it for anybody else. But I think it's amazing how you've done it. So what made you want to take it further?
So, James, going to school, and was a huge step for me.
Yeah.
And not all caregivers have that privilege or the drive.
Hmm.
So, when I went to the school, I already knew because my husband had sat me down and said, Mamta, you know what? You will be the primary caregiver. So I need retirement for myself, for Parag, and you now.
Hmm.
So I knew when I was in the school that I won't be going and joining the workforce. But so what it did was it released me from something. I became so porous in soaking all the knowledge and applying in my homeschool that I have been running for 25 years with Parag now.
Wow.
And yes, and there were other people who were going through similar situations, but it is a consistent and persistent effort, James, and not a lot of people are able to sustain that rigor. So thankfully, with God's grace, I have been able to, and so that helped me. Was the school really helped me to give me direction, because as you said, with ADHD, a lot of times that too happens. That ADHD and autism connection actually,
Absolutely.
well, I'm going ahead. Like, I did not know that I'll have an Autism Foundation of Gadsden, Alabama.
Yeah.
And we had the fourth annual autism conference. Together, we can make a difference in April, which is the month for autism. And in that, our keynote speaker talked about last year, she talked about this ADHD autism connection. So in that, what she said was that there is a tendency of misdiagnosis. A lot of
Mhm.
the autistic kids get misdiagnosed into ADHD and vice
Right.
versa.
Right.
So And so it was a tremendous conversation where we talked about the behavioral intervention and the medicine. And I personally believe that there is a place for both of it, and clapping happens, amazing result happens if both can be balanced.
Absolutely.
So as I said before, that one thing has led to another, and I'm here today. I did not know when Prague was diagnosed that I will be going to school. So
Right.
learning, getting that knowledge, and then wanting to just learn more in this field, because it's very confusing. It's
Absolutely.
still very confusing. So to
Yeah.
me, it was very important to hold on to evidence-based research, because when you type in like autism on the Google search bar, 531 million results pop up in 44 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so this helped me, to hold on to this. I'm going to uh, chart my way and find direction through evidence-based research. So what I have done in homeschool is I have worked with Parag with applied behavioral analysis.
Hmm.
And now, in a common man's term, applied behavioral analysis is how we take information, process it, and then use it for our own benefit. So
Absolutely.
most of the time, these kids are tremendous, but they're not able to use it to their own benefit. So, so all these teaching styles that I applied with Parag, uh, you know, so those are discrete trial training. I will be talking about teachable moments in my um, own event that I'm doing about caregiver skill training and incidental teaching, contextual teaching. But the most important thing that I want to tell everybody out there is that common sense is the
Yeah.
most uncommon thing and
Yeah.
the most required thing in life. So that is what has helped me, is to have that common sense approach to
Absolutely.
everything, to
Um,
communication, socialization, or behavior. So that is why my first book has helped a lot of people. It is simple, hands-on, and practical, and full of real life experiences. And I have compiled like 25 years of learning and teaching that has gone into Prague. But it has helped, and it is also, I believe that the coping skill and the behavioral intervention that has worked for Prague will work for all the kids with autism, provided it is done early on, consistently, and persistently. So that is very important, to be slow and steady.
Absolutely. Um, Actually, a couple things. You spoke on just the idea that there can always be a misdiagnosis between autism and ADHD, and I'm
Yes.
glad you spoke on that, because while we didn't experience anything where he was misdiagnosed, it did take a long time for them to really figure out what was going on. Like, what was that process like for you, just in terms of them determining, at the age of 2, what was really going on, and or what type of issues were you seeing that even made you question?
Oh, yeah. So I told you I have another son, Ankur, and they are actually 10 months apart. So I don't
And
know. I was, yeah, I
just a
was
heads
there
up,
like Irish twins.
yeah, just a
So,
quick heads up, Cat Queen, she's actually in the comments. So I know you asked if she was going to be on the video today, but she just made a comment that says special needs parents unite. Um,
yes.
so she is there in the comments though.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. And I'd love to meet her. So, um, so to answer that question is that, when the diagnosis, like, the developmentally, he was, Prague was not speaking. Like, he was once in a blue moon, he will say something like apple, and he was already 2 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a big warning sign for me. And then when I took him to and most of the time, James, what happens is that they start talking when they're around 15 months of age, but then they lose that speech. Okay.
Yeah.
And and so when I took Prague there, that is when the pediatrician whom I love, he is no more, but he really guided me, and he said that Prague has autism.
Yeah.
And it was, as I told you, it was shattering to know that there's no cure for it. And the cause too, and now with all these new stuff coming up, it is as if we are playing catch 22. We are back to square one,
Right.
where we did, like, the vaccine was debunked and now it is back in the scene. So we still don't know, and the correlation and causation are two different things.
Absolutely.
So we need to find the cause for it. That
Hmm.
is when the cure will come out. But since we don't have that yet, the one big tool that I believe that we all caregivers should have is to uh, how to take care of these kids. And we are all, we are burnt out, and that is why when I started going around and talking, um, I saw that, I had experienced it myself. It's like I was so exhausted in taking care of Parag, and it's not just Parag; it's the entire family.
Yeah.
You have to wear different hats,
Yeah.
and to perform that. So I was physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually exhausted.
I can
So
imagine.
that is why this new book came, Energy Management Mantras for Caregivers,
Hmm.
because this is a guide to overcome that burnout. And as I said, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, so that we can live a life of full potential with,
Absolutely.
yeah, with happiness and satisfaction.
I'm glad
So,
you.
yeah,
I'm actually happy that you mentioned about family because I had a question kind of geared towards that. Just in terms of how you feel like your family stepped in, or maybe they didn't. And really, my question was, what did your friends and family get right, and then what did they not get right? Because I can only imagine how physically and mentally exhausted you were, because even on our side, dealing with the ADH side, it was exhausting because you would do some things and then they would seem to be working, and then all of a sudden it would go back,
it
you
was.
go back 100 degrees, and it's like, oh my god, it's like it's not working anymore. And
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So, what happened was I myself was very confused. Okay, and confusion is not a bad thing, James. I have
Right.
written, there is a chapter, like, there is a whole section in this book, my new book,
Hmm.
is that about shedding, negativity. And confusion is one of the things that we have to. So it is not no confusion, no learning. That's what my dad had said. And then I added later in this book is no failure, no learning. So we are, even when we are doing something and it is not working, we are not stuck there.
Yeah.
We learn something, and then that becomes a platform to launch us further. So, so as far as family is concerned, at that point in time, James, and I'll be very candid, I was getting a lot of advice, but I was so exhausted. I was like, "Can you
Yeah.
please hold Parag so I can go to sleep?"
Yeah.
And I wasn't finding that.
Yeah.
So, what and it's all. I really believe when I have um, uh, any challenging situations, I say, please, God, hold my hand, give me the strength, and give me the wisdom. And that has worked for me. So the wisdom in that prayer came is that to start his homeschool. And then when you read through my first book, you'll see that it was a process till
Uh-huh.
it became what it is now. And
Absolutely.
I am initially I was the only teacher in the homeschool, and then I found help, and it is with God's grace, it is going good. I know everything about this Parag's homeschool. It is now at this point in time, it is because he was nonverbal until age 4. And then when he started talking, echolalia set in. Now, echolalia is repeating words after you without understanding the meaning. They do not attach the meaning to the words they're saying.
Right.
So my homeschool initially was like changing that echolalia into meaningful conversation. So
Right.
now he is able to not only express his wants and needs, but also some of his emotions and feelings. Still, he's limited, but because he has avenues. I mean, he has this vocational training program where we teach him to make candles and natural body care products. So
Yes.
it also gives him that sense of happiness because he feels useful. He wants to
Absolutely.
do that. And then in COVID, something amazing happened. His products, which sell on the website under Parag Cosmetic, and
Hmm.
we have changed the name because initially it was PM Candles and Cosmetics, and people thought that these candles and cosmetics are to be used at night.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
like, oh no, but then in COVID, these things were not selling so as much. So then I did, I brought him a small canvas from Hobby Lobby. Oh,
Hmm.
believe me, Hobby Lobby has come to my rescue so many
Yeah.
times. So, and then all I knew was splatter painting. So I taught him splatter painting, and he took from there. And then initially he did abstract painting, and now he paints from his memory to all the places we take him. He paints those. It's amazing.
Wow.
So
I
to
can't. I can't wait to
all
see those.
Oh, James, to all the families out there, all I will say is that give them tools and encouragement, and they will find their innate talent. That is but what happens is, as a caregiver, we are so exhausted, and
Absolutely.
that is why I believe that this book will come so handy to all of us.
Absolutely.
And also to synergize and then if we don't fill ourselves up, how can we give? So this book I'm having, I really think it will help all of us. And as you said, we are all caregivers. We want to give the best possible care to our loved ones. But until unless we become whole again, until unless we mend and become the best version of ourselves, by evolving, we cannot give that care in the fullest.
Absolutely. I love that you speak about filling yourself up because the post that I put up today just in promoting the podcast, I said, how do caregivers pour from a cup that's never empty? I think that this speaks volumes to that, and I really want to give kudos to you again as well, because starting his homeschool and getting the additional help, of people to help you with it, and progressing now 25 years later, like, that is absolutely a mother's love. Like, that is not that type of care. You can't buy it. You're not going to get it by sending him away to anywhere else and trying to have somebody else do it. Like, that is absolutely a mother's love. So to me, it speaks volumes to who you are, as a person and as a mother. So really, kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, James. But
absolutely.
I don't, yes, I mean, I love both my kids. They're blessings from
Absolutely.
God. But it is, as you grow in this path, like, what happens initially, everybody's hurting and
Hmm.
everybody's licking their own wounds. They don't see the pain in others. All of us, including me, initially I was processing that, but then as we grow together, then the cohesiveness starts in the family. And that is what
Absolutely.
has happened in my family also, is that I have realized that if you synergize, then everybody comes together. But many a times, what happens is that either it can build you or break you. And
Absolutely.
the reason for that is that the progress is so slow that you don't see the progress and you feel that I'm stuck. There's no movement. So in my book, I have shared certain stories which resonates with people, and I want to share that in this context. So there is a story that in one monastery, these monks were making these tapestries, and they were different, like, they were making the pieces. And then one monk went to the head monk and he says, I'm tired of weaving this yellow yarn, and I don't see any purpose in this. So the head monk said, just keep on doing, and the purpose will reveal to you. So when the tapestry was done, it was woven together, and this monk who did not see the purpose in weaving that yellow yarn just fell on his knees because he realized that he was weaving the halo around Christ.
Right.
So that is what happens a lot of times with this story. What I want to convey is that we get so disheartened,
Mhm.
that we leave too early. When I talk to you, I'm talking about 25 years of this journey, and the journey still continues. So to not give up and give in, to hold on so that
Ab-
we can see the bigger picture. And they
Absolutely.
are capable, all the special needs kids, they are capable and they have the ability as long as we see it and help to bring it out in them.
Absolutely. I just want to highlight a few more comments that of people who are posting comments in here. You have Ready Red who said, "Hello, beautiful people." Corey
Oh,
T.
thank you.
Let's see. Corey T214. He's just sending some love your way.
Oh,
Uh, and then Cat Queen, she dropped a couple more comments in there. Said she's happy to see you. Can't wait to meet you.
oh yeah, me too.
She said that having a village is important, but sometimes autism can be overwhelming for people. And then also she said relationships will be tested, and just speaking on how she loves the people who loves her, who loves them. I think it's definitely amazing, and there's just a special kind of love that comes from
Oh
autism.
yeah.
From
Oh
autism moms. I see it day to day with Cat Queen, and just that everything that she has to do, and I'm seeing it day to day now
yeah.
with everything that you're doing, and just everything that you've done over the 25 left or the past 25 years. I
Thank
really
you.
want to start getting into the book though. Um,
Okay.
so energy management, I would love for you to really define energy management for caregivers and kind of explain how that's different just from regular self-care or generic self-care.
Okay, so yes, this book is different. First thing first, you said when we started the show, you said that we are all caregivers, and people have to, when we talk, yes, we are all caregivers and we want to give the best possible care to our loved ones. But
Absolutely.
then those of us who have to deal with the developmental delay and disability of our loved ones, or with geriatric care that you mentioned, then it becomes very challenging, both physically and psychologically. So this book is geared towards all of us who have that kind of a challenge. And also the energy, management is how we are going to take charge, not let the energy, our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy dissipate. And that only can happen, James, because people used to ask me, like when I went for talks and in the conferences, when I was invited to talk, and they'll say, oh, how are you so put together? In my head, I'm like, what? I won't say the word that is coming in my head. What nonsense. Okay. So I'm like, no, no, that's not true. But you have to really, and there are days which are autistic days for me. I call them autistic days, and I keep away from people, everybody, because I have to realign and center myself. So it is. over the years, I have developed these coping skills. I know everybody gives this example, or when we are in the airplane, then we should put the mask, oxygen mask first on ourselves and then on to the loved ones.
Right.
And well, in the life, there is no oxygen mask falling on our laps. So
Right.
we have to develop those oxygen masks, and those are our coping skills. And that's what I have shared. Those are my mantras, tools to think and
Absolutely.
think positively. So how can we? So there's something amazing in this book. I know it's not out there anywhere. I have talked about this mental flip switch. So when we are going into that negative mental energy state, and boy, I know about it because I have lived in that dark vortex for a while, and it transfixes you, it hypnotizes you, and you are looking down, and you know it's a bottomless pit. And then we are so hypnotized, so we just can't stop that fall in that
Hmm.
depressive state, in that sadness. But the moment we say, I am not going to fall, that is the time we look up and we see the light. And it is not easy, James, because it wasn't easy to dig myself out from that dark vortex.
I can
But
imagine.
once you see the light, it is possible, because in that moment, you choose courage over sadness, over
Mm.
depression. And like I'm a cook and I taught myself to cook. And when we get, by chance, when we go to the store and have this tough meat we bring, we don't throw it away. We put tenderizers, soften it, and use it. And
Absolutely.
that is exactly many of us who have these challenging situations. We need to find these tenderizers, which is kindness. First, we have to be kind to ourselves, to give
Hmm.
kindness to anybody, to share love, develop friendship, and all these things. It is gradual. And
Hmm.
I'm very happy now that I was so lost and lonely, but now I have my tribe today. See, through autism, you and I got connected through this book. So
Absolutely.
God is great. He is. So I am building my tribe of supporters and believers through my book, through my autism page, and I want to share that because that it is called Autism Our Journey in Finding Happiness. It's a Facebook page, and it is a public Facebook page. I blog on that page, share Prague's trials and triumphs, write articles, etc. And I would like people to join me, because, and it's a free resource. I counsel for free through
Absolutely.
that page also. So, it's easy to just go boo-hoo-hoo about everything. But when you connect with God, then you also connect with people. And I believe a lot of times some of the things that has happened in my life has given me direction. So I was, when Prague was little, people were giving me advice, one advice after another advice, and I'm like trying to incorporate every single one of them.
Absolutely.
That's humanly not possible. So I broke down one time. Somebody gave me one more advice. I broke down. And then the pediatrician I was mentioning, Prague's pediatrician, um, I'm an amazing human being and doctor. And I called, while I was crying, I called, I said, uh, this is what is happening. Everybody gives me one more advice and I just can't do it. And he said, Mamta, you know autism is a lifelong disorder, so you cannot go like this. Whatever, think like this: whatever is good for Ankur, your elder son, is good for Parag. If too much sugar is bad for Ankur, then too much sugar is bad for Parag. Make your household as normal as possible. And in my head, I'm like, how do I do that? And the answer came to me was simplify. So in this journey, when we take the steps, it's so many information, and not all information is good, or you know your family, your kid the best, so you decide and
Absolutely.
then chart in that direction, and I'm pretty sure you will find, you will not be where you are, you will move forward.
Now, one of the things that really hits my mind, and you spoke on this a little bit. Once this all began for you, you pretty much knew at that point that you weren't going to be going into the workforce. But I know you realize yourself that there's so many people who are faced with these dilemmas, and they have jobs and they still have to go to work. How can even the systems that you've put in place, how can they be tailored for the workforce and for people who have to go to work? Or how can we make the workspace, more caregiver friendly, I would say?
So to answer this, I'll answer it this way. First thing first, we all caregivers have to figure out that how we can make our kid independent, okay, and they have some kind of a vocation or some kind of a training, because our school system, I'm so sorry to say, it is, particularly when it is nonverbal kids, one fit for all doesn't fit, like, it's not working. So then what I had to do was figure out myself that Parag, um, how to have a vocation for him, because when I went, I sent Parag to see if he can find any job when he turns 16, learn to for a training towards a job. And I got a letter saying that at this point in time, he is totally untrainable for any job.
Hmm.
And I remember crying by the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And then this again, the voice spoke and says, "It's October, Christmas is around the corner. Why don't you teach him to make candles?" And with
Absolutely.
Jill's knowledge of making candles, I went to Hobby Lobby. That's why I told you Hobby Lobby has come to my rescue.
Yeah.
And then I got all these candle making stuff, and boy, it didn't work because the wax candle is very dangerous.
Yes.
Then I went on. Then I found out about gel candles, and that's amazing. It's
Yeah.
plant based,
Yeah.
and it's very forgiving. So I taught that to Parag, and then in one of my friends, she says, "Mamta, can I sell these?" So it wasn't my idea, it was her idea. And then again, another thing that happened was in 2014, he had nummular eczema. And he then, because my grandpa was a acharya in Ayurveda, which means natural medicine, kind of PhD in natural medicine, and I
Yes.
used to help my grandma. So I knew a couple of things. So we made this neem soap and lavender massage oil, which took away his eczema. Then my friend says, "Can you package it good? We will sell this." So one thing, so it was people coming together with, that's how, and then this in this journey to help, and so once they become a little bit unhappy, I know all caregivers want to see their kids happy and
Absolutely.
independent and productive. So once we know that that is where the route is going, then we can disengage and do something for ourselves. But when I told you, James, I counsel, and a lot of times the three areas, deficit areas: communication, socialization, and behavior.
Mhm.
And boy, many a times what happens is they, like, the behavior supersedes. A lot of times the parents and the caregivers are not able to manage that. So when we, like, with the conference that I have started, together we can make a difference. And that is true as the name, because we have to come together so that we can learn from each other, support each other. And then we can, once we know that we can, the kid and the system. So we have to figure out a system where we also help each other, and then the system helps us better. So if the school system can teach them vocational training, and we know that they have they are in safe environment,
Hmm.
that would be tremendous. And in Gadsden, actually, we have this program started by the school system, Gadsden City High School, and it is called Beautiful Rainbow Cafe. And they train the kids over there into in the restaurant business, and not only that, like, other, and then once they are trained, they can go and help in other retail businesses. So apart from the uh, that, so even so, that is a shareable story. What Parag is doing is a shareable story, and I know it is possible, provided the family, the community comes together. So one step at a time, James, one
Yeah.
step at a time.
I love how you acknowledge the fact that they said that he would never be able to work for anybody, and you found it within yourself to teach him how to make candles, and how to make his products that he's able to sell online. And to me, again, I keep saying so much about how it speaks volumes to what you've done, but those are the types of things that people need to hear, because people in the medical field are always going to tell you that you can't do this and you can't do that, but God always has the answer. God always has the final say so. And you were able to teach him to do these things so that not only can he be productive, but he can be happy about what he's doing and really feel good about it. And it's the same thing, with Cat Queen and her daughter. She worked her first job this past summer, and you know, doctors would always say that it's not going to happen, but here it is, it's happening, and that's a testament to the work
Yeah.
that Cat Queen has done,
Mm.
and being an autism mom and being a strong advocate. So I think it's really amazing what you're able to do out here. And just for people to be able to see how they can maneuver through their life and still accomplish these things. Like, what is the ultimate takeaway that you want people to get from energy mantras, or from
So
energy
I
mantras for caregivers?
Yeah, so from this book, Energy Management Mantras for Caregivers, I want them to learn something, a mantra, and that is that to activate their flip switch. And that is, I think this is the first time any book has ever talked about it. So what that means is, let me give you an example. Well, and my grandma used to do this all the time. So I was very little, and I remember this vivid memory is that I spilled some water and I was about to cry. And she says, "Oh, wow, this is great because the ancestors were so thirsty, so they got to drink water." So instead of crying, I felt so good. So, what I'm trying to tell is that it is very important for us caregivers to activate that mental flip switch when we are going, because when we are sad, when we are in the negative mental energy state, our energy is dissipated. So, we have to figure out ways and means to be in the positive mental energy state of happiness and joy. And well, once we can learn to do that, then everything starts resonating, synergizing, and we become not only better caregivers, but we just become amazing, beautiful human being ready to help each other and make this society cohesive and caring.
Mhm. No, okay. So what I want to do now, as we get a little bit closer to the end, I have a few questions that people have sent in. So
Oh, okay,
I'm gonna
sure.
I'm gonna actually put it up on the screen, and then I'll let you kind of talk through it. So the first
Okay.
one is a caregiver juggling two jobs along with IEP meetings. So what are the first three steps that they should do? When they're juggling the two.
Okay, so yes, it is tough, and we have got the tougher ones. So there is something I'm doing right now. There's one event that I'm doing, and that is called Caregiver Skill Training Program, which is actually uh, like developed by the World Health Organization in collaboration with Autism Speak. So in the IEP meeting, the I would the the caregivers who are going to attend, they are actually going to tell the teachers about it. We need to, this is a free internet-based thing for the kids. So, and many a times general ed teachers, their training is not geared towards the towards teaching special needs students. So in the IP meeting, you have to, the caregivers first, they have to figure out time to go and be there. If their kid is cannot talk for themselves, then they have to be their advocate, and they have to find help from friends and family to be in the meeting. But at the same time, they also have to become aware of the resources, and there are a lot of free resources out there. But if you don't know your own you know what uh, your own what you like, the idea, then all that, you have to know these, and that way you can um, be an advocate. But yes, it is tough. And when you are juggling between two jobs and then IP meeting, it's tough. But like, you need to figure out if you can get a help from somebody so that you can go over there, and also let see that the right help is provided in the school. For that, you have to be be aware and educated enough to become that voice for your kid. And
Absolutely.
if your kid can speak, that's even better, because we eventually want them to become their own advocate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I think amazing answer. So, our second question says, a parent new to services, how can they map out the next 90 days?
First thing first, if you if the new to the services, meaning the diagnosis has happened.
Right.
Okay, so even before that, if the diagnosis, I'll answer it this way. If the diagnosis has not happened and they are suspicious, then there is a free internet-based resource that I want to talk about, which is called M-Chat, CHAT. And they can answer the questions on behalf of the toddlers. And then if they have certain points, they can take it to the pediatrician or the psychologist, and then the process of diagnosis can start. Not be, they don't have to be dependent for the school system.
Right.
And also, if that the first 90 days, you have to gather information, you have to become like, what are the things available for the parents, so what are the things that the school system is we can get from the school system. Are there groups that can help you? So getting in a group where people can support you. The support group is very important to join, so that, because they have already, some people have already must be ahead in the journey, and they can come to where you can ask them questions, and they can be help. It's always important to build a cohesive, caring community of
Absolutely.
caregivers. Oh boy,
Absolutely.
that was an alliteration.
Okay. So, when co-parents, meaning mom and dad, when they disagree on the approach, what can kind of reset the room?
Okay, so, and that this happens very often.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't do this and you should do this. When I counsel, I come across that lot, and that I believe that communication, is a key thing, and also doing the right research. For me, I believe in evidence-based research.
Absolutely.
So to me, that has helped. That otherwise, it is widespread. So then both the parents have to think one thing: what is best for my kid? you know and then come to a consensus before they apply anything. So that has to happen, not in front of the kid.
Right.
You have to talk about it, and this is the approach we are doing, and this is how we are going to not only help the kid but help each other.
Absolutely. And I think that was a great question because you see it very often where
Yes,
the
yes,
parents don't
absolutely.
necessarily agree. And even my ex-wife and I, we kind of hit that in the very beginning when we were still trying to, I think we had just gotten the diagnosis and
uh,
just trying to figure out what to do and whether to, go the medication route and that sort of thing. I think we kind of hit that in the very beginning too. So no, I think that was a very, very good question. The
yeah.
final question says, uh-oh, okay, there we go. It says, what can parents do when they feel they are not being provided all the available resources?
Oh, you have to stand up. You have to stand up for you and for your kid. That is all I can say. You cannot give in, you cannot give up.
Absolutely. And I know that's where my ex-wife and I, we absolutely agreed on that.
Yeah.
If we
And
felt that something wasn't being provided, we went to
you
the top and made sure that he got it.
you have to be a squeaky wheel. You'll get hurt.
Absolutely. And just keeping documentation, very good documentation of everything that happens because,
Yeah.
in those situations where they may be diagnosed with autism or ADHD, and they may be in a space where they actually are verbal and they're in school, and then they're dealing with kids and bullies and that sort of
Oh,
thing. And I think that's one of the things that we dealt with in the very beginning. And luckily he was we had him in karate classes and all that type of stuff. So I mean, he was well equipped, just in terms of if he needed to protect himself and that sort of thing. But we ran into, situations where the school officials were not paying attention and they weren't listening, even though. One of the things that helped us tremendously was the documentation, and we kept
oh
very good
yes, yes,
documentation of
absolutely.
everything
That
that went on. So I think
yes.
that's a big piece of it as well. But just like you said, standing up and standing tall and not sitting down on it.
Yes, yes. And also there's something, James, I want to talk about is that denial is not just from the caregivers, I have noticed. Denial is also from the professionals.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if you think that your kid is showing signs of autism, and that is and those are like they are sitting in the corner, rotating a toy, playing, they can do that for hours and hours, no eye contact, rocking their body back and forth,
Yeah,
sidewise, ways, and flapping their hands. These are all symptomatic behaviors. They may
absolutely.
not show all the behaviors, but when you see, you should know because you asked me a question, how did I know about Parag? Parag was not talking like his elder brother, who is just 10 months apart,
Right,
so that rang that warning bell. So you should know the symptomatic behavior. So when the professional tells you, no, no, it's okay, your kid will start talking, it's just a delay, you take that stand.
absolutely.
And yes, and so the denial is not just many a times, not all the time, just the caregivers. It's the professionals too. And for us, early intervention is a must in not only autism, any developmental delay or disability. It is very important to intervene it as early as possible. And then the results, the progress is tremendous.
Absolutely. And just in terms of the denial piece, I think we were very blessed, just in our process because one of his teachers, and she knows who she is. So I know she watches the podcast all the time. So I know she'll
Okay.
see this and she'll know that I'm talking about her. But it really was because of her that we began to push the way that we did, and we really began to accept to accept it. And it really was a blessing that she had seen it she had seen it in other children, she had seen it in her own children. She knew the steps, and she was able to kind of to really tell us those steps, or tell us the symptoms, I would say. And it was
Yes.
because of her, and she was probably one of the strongest voices that we
Uh-huh.
had, when he was that age. And really all through, like, we still talk to her now, and he's in college now.
Oh,
So I mean,
awesome.
she's
That's a
still in
great
our
story.
lives, just in terms of keeping up with him and that sort of thing. But it helps to have, strong people like you, like her, and like you, who know
Thank
this
you.
in and out and who can
Yeah.
really speak to it. I think that this has
Yeah.
been really amazing for today. I really want to do this again. So like we have to set another date and actually do it, a
Oh,
second
I
time around.
love to, love to. Before I go, I want to tell everybody, please have high expectations from your kid, and let them be independent, because we have a tendency to teach them learned helplessness. So we teach them to become helpless. Oh, he cannot do this or she cannot do this. No, give them the opportunity to
Absolutely.
learn and have high expectations from them.
Absolutely. And I really just want to say thank you to you for your generosity and for your clarity, and or the clarity that you were able to bring today. For everybody,
Thank you so
and
much. I mean, my
absolutely,
honor and pleasure, James, anytime. Thank you.
absolutely. And for everybody who is listening and who is watching, the latest book is Energy Management Mantras for Caregivers. The earlier work from Mamta is Autism, Our Journey and Finding Happiness.
Yes.
Um, that remains to be a powerful companion. So you really want to invest in both of these. I can tell you absolutely, Cat Queen, she is trying to get over here and get my books. So she absolutely wants to read them, and I'm absolutely going to give them to her to read.
Let
Uh,
her know. I'll send it her way. I want to
Absolutely.
meet her too.
Yes, I don't know if she's going to be able to come with me on, and we're trying to figure that piece out. Maybe she might be able to travel with me on the
Okay.
18th when I come.
Okay. Love that.
Um,
Okay.
but that first book, Autism, Our Journey and Finding Happiness, remains a powerful companion. You guys can follow Mamta on Facebook. What's your Facebook page again?
It is same as my first book, Autism, Our Journey and Finding Happiness. And
Okay.
it has a following of 135,000 people and going strong.
Absolutely. And for everybody, again, who is watching, please share this episode with everybody you know, especially those who are autism parents or who are advocates for autism, even ADHD, and people who may be caring for parents, because this really stretches across the board. It's not just an autism thing, but, obviously we are focusing on autism and autism moms today. So we really and truly appreciate you all watching us today. Any final thoughts or anything, Mom said, before we go?
Well, as I said, that we all have to come together in this, and that's how we can tackle autism or any developmental delay and disability. But before when we and the only way we can do it is by synergizing our energy.
Absolutely. Um, you hang tight, so don't hang up once we end or anything, because once we finish, I'll come back to you. So you hang
Okay,
tight.
perfect, perfect.
Everybody else who is here, thank you so 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 much for watching this. I think it was amazing. We are gonna do this a second time with Mamta, because I think that this
Thank
was
you.
amazing, and I know that there's people who are sending questions and that sort of thing. So we're gonna get everything compiled, and we are gonna do this a second time. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Just as a heads up, we do have some more content that is going to run later on in the evening. So make sure that you guys are tuned into the network. But we truly appreciate you. Everybody have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. The weather's good out here in town. So, and this is probably one of the last days for you to enjoy it. So get out there and enjoy the weather. But thank you again as well for
Thank
watching.
you.
Both Mamsa and I appreciate you.
Thank you. God bless you.